Hello and welcome. In this session, we are going to dive deep into managing Microsoft Entra identities with a specific focus on the life cycle of groups. From creation to dynamic automation and governance, we will cover the essential skills you need to manage access at scale. To begin, we must distinguish between the tools at our disposal. In Microsoft Entra ID, groups are the primary method for managing access permissions at scale, adhering to zero trust principles. We primarily use security groups when we need to control access to resources, such as SAS apps or Intune policies. In contrast, if your goal is facilitating collaboration, think shared mailboxes or Teams channels, you will utilize Microsoft 365 groups. Crucially, you must decide how members arrive in these groups. Assigned membership gives you static control where you manually select users. However, for scalability, we look to dynamic membership. This allows the system to automatically manage membership based on user or device properties, such as adding everyone from the sales department automatically, significantly reducing administrative overhead. Let's visualize this decision process. We start at the top by defining the purpose of the group. If your goal is strictly controlling access to resources, you follow the path to a security group. If you need collaboration tools like Teams, you select a Microsoft 365 group. Once the type is selected, you determine the membership method. The assigned path relies on manual selection, good for ad hoc projects. The dynamic path relies on attribute rules, allowing the system to automate membership changes based on user data. Now that we understand the types, let's look at creation. You can create groups manually in the admin center or automate the process via PowerShell or the Graph API, which is critical for bulk operations. A key best practice is assigning owners. Owners can manage their group's membership, delegating the workload away from central IT. We also have a powerful feature called role-assignable groups. By setting is assignable to role to true during creation, you can assign Microsoft Entra roles, such as user administrator, to the group itself. This simplifies privilege management, as adding a user to the group automatically grants them the role. Remember, once this property is set, it is immutable, and you cannot turn an existing group into a role-assignable group later. This diagram illustrates the creation logic. An admin or script initiates the process. A critical decision point is whether the group needs to hold Microsoft Entra roles. If yes, you must set is assignable to role to true at the moment of creation. This path allows members to inherit administrative permissions. The standard path is used for assigning application access or licenses. Both paths ensure that individual members inherit the permissions assigned to the container. To reduce manual overhead, we use dynamic groups. This feature requires a P1 license and works by evaluating user or device attributes against a rule you define. For example, you might create a rule that states, if a user's department equals sales, they are added to the sales team group. If that user moves to marketing, the system automatically removes them. You can use the rule builder in the portal for standard rules, or the text box for complex syntax involving advanced operators. It is vital to understand that processing is asynchronous. When you change a rule or update a user's attribute, the system queues the change. In large tenants, this update can take time to reflect, so you should monitor the processing status on the group's overview page. Here we see the life cycle of a dynamic membership update. It starts when an attribute changes on a user object, such as a job title change. The system detects this and triggers an evaluation against the group's rules. If the user's new properties match the rule, they transition to the added state. If they no longer match, they transition to removed. This cycle ensures your group membership always reflects the current state of your directory data. As self-service grows, so does clutter. To maintain order, we configure naming and expiration policies. Naming policies allow you to enforce a standard format, such as prefixing GRP or appending the user's department to the group name. You can also block sensitive words to prevent users from creating misleading groups like HR official. Furthermore, to handle stale groups, we configure expiration policies for Microsoft 365 groups. You define a lifetime, say 180 days. If the group is inactive, owners are notified to renew it. Crucially, Microsoft Entra now uses intelligence to auto-renew groups that have active usage in Teams, SharePoint, or Outlook, ensuring productive groups aren't deleted accidentally. This sequence shows two governance enforcement points. First, when a user attempts to create a group, the naming policy intercepts the request, checking for blocked words and applying the required naming convention. Later, as time passes, the expiration policy checks the group for activity. If activity is detected in connected apps, the group auto-renews. If no activity is found, the system prompts the owner to renew, preventing data loss. To scale management, we delegate. Self-service group management empowers users to create and manage their own security and M365 groups via the My Groups portal, reducing helpdesk tickets. However, delegation requires oversight. This is where access reviews come in. You can schedule recurring reviews where group owners or members must attest to their need for continued access. If a user denies access or doesn't respond, the system can automatically remove them. To make this easier, Microsoft Entra provides recommendations, such as highlighting users who haven't signed in recently, helping reviewers make informed decisions. This ensures compliance and implements the principle of least privilege. This chart outlines the access review lifecycle. The process triggers on a schedule, sending a notification to the designated reviewer, often the group owner. The reviewer makes a decision, approve or deny. If they deny, the user is removed from the group automatically. If they fail to respond, a default system action such as remove access or approve is applied based on your configuration. All actions are logged for auditing. Finally, let's cover advanced scenarios. Privileged Identity Management, PIM, for groups allows you to make group membership eligible rather than permanent. A user activates their membership for a few hours to perform a task and is then removed, drastically reducing the attack surface. For hybrid environments, we use Group Writeback via Microsoft Entra Cloud Sync. This allows you to create groups in the cloud, perhaps using dynamic rules or PIM, and have them written back to on-premises Active Directory to secure legacy applications using Kerberos. You can manage the source of authority, SOA, effectively modernizing legacy group management by moving the control plane to the cloud while keeping the on-prem identity store updated. This visualizes the hybrid and PIM integration. On the left, in the cloud, we have an Entra ID group managed by PIM. Users only become active members when necessary. Through Cloud Sync Writeback, this cloud group state is synchronized to the on-premises Active Directory group. The legacy application on the right, which doesn't understand the cloud, simply reads the AD group, allowing you to secure legacy apps with modern cloud governance.